The year of dreams. 2015 felt like the year that just kept on giving. On the announcement side, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Shenmue 3, The Resurrection of the Last Guardian, Ni no Kuni 2, Dragon Quest XI, and so many others. 2015 also delivered on just some truly incredible games. Bloodborne, Resident Evil, both the HD version of the remake and Revelations 2. Life is Strange, The Witcher 3, Until Dawn, and way too many others to name, most of which will be listed as honorable mentions in the post, and you should check that out because there's a ton of them. There was just such a large number of excellent games covering numerous genres. It actually really felt like this was a year that had something for everybody. This year wasn't without disappointments, especially for fans of Konami games, but I found it really difficult not to be absolutely stoked about where the industry is and where we're headed in the new year. Coming up with a top 5 games of the year list is never easy, but 2015 did everything it could to make it a nearly impossible task.
When the police won't help you and the priests don't believe you, you call on Paul Prospero. You call on me.
I love mystery, horror, thrillers, and feeling like I'm part of a world. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter blew me away. I don't know that I've ever felt so enthralled in a game's world. The entire game takes place in a relatively small area, but there is so much detail and so many little things to experience that make Red Creek Valley one of the most believable worlds in a game that I've ever experienced. It's also absolutely haunting. 2015 felt like the year that I've really picked up on vibes in games. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is filled with mystery, suspense, and dread. It's actually better at creating tension than some horror games out there. I try to stay away from hyperbole in my writing, but I truly feel that this is a game that I will never forget. There are just so many incredible moments that are absolutely worth experiencing for yourself if you have yet to check this one out. The Talos Principle is one of few games that I go into with high expectations that still somehow get past. Do you remember how clever and original the puzzles in Portal felt? The same thing applies to the Talos Principle. It is an extraordinary puzzle game that continued to surprise me as I progressed. On top of that comes a really interesting story, characters, world building, and a soundtrack that is simply breathtaking. I can't tell you how many times I stopped solving puzzles, not because I was stuck, but because I wanted to sit back and just listen to the music. Any other year, Axial Verge would be my game of the year by a country mile. It stands above all other Metroid-like games in recent years, and then continues to go above and beyond. The glitch gun and its use in this game might be one of my favorite things to come out of this year. But before I continue, I just want to give a spoiler warning. It's nothing story related, but it's a secret that I truly feel is worth discovering on your own. Here's a timestamp for where you can skip to my number 2 pick. Are we good? So getting 100% completion in this game was one of the most rewarding experiences I've had this year. There was a moment where I stood in a room, knowing that there was a secret somewhere, just banging my head against the wall. I tried everything I could, but to no avail, when I decided to try one last thing. Now you should understand that in this game you pick up notes written in another language that you'll eventually find a clue that'll help decipher that language for you. So I took out a notepad and pencil and started jotting down some of the symbols that I noticed were written on the walls in this room. I then translated those symbols using notes I had found before, only to discover that it actually spelled out something. It's a pretty cool attention to detail, right? There's more. So I entered this word into the password screen and proceeded to watch as a whole new section of the map, one that I did not know existed, was revealed. Keep in mind, this was at a point where my game completion was about 95%. Discovering something totally new, that being a whole new area of the map, was pretty crazy. And that's just one of about a dozen really cool optional things that I found that some people probably will never see. Life is Strange sure took me through a whirlwind of emotions this year. I'll never forget the gut punch that was episode 3, or the way I felt when the final choice was presented to me. Max Caulfield is a wonderful character, and her friendship with Chloe felt so genuine in a way that most video games can't quite capture. I love the scenes between them about as much as I love the game's use of music. The ability to just sit down, relax, and just take the world in with some tunes in the background was such an incredible design choice. Arcadia Bay, much like Red Creek Valley, feels like a living, breathing world. I want to go to the Two Whales Diner. I want to see the lighthouse. I want to be able to hang out with Samuel and just talk squirrels. I also love Life is Strange's willingness to tackle some really serious subject matter. Subject matter that is likely to affect just about anyone in some way. It's great to see a game open up dialogue about suicide, loss, depression, and any number of issues. Hopefully it's something that leads to more people getting any help that they might need.
If this is destiny, I hope we can find Rachel. I miss her, Max.
Bloodborne and Life is Strange bounced back and forth for me throughout the year, but ultimately it was Bloodborne that just barely etched out the win. Bloodborne is From Software doing what they do best. The level design, boss encounters, art direction, world building, music, and combat are just outstanding. I love the build-up to Lovecraftian setting from gothic horror. I love how it feels to transform a weapon mid-combo. I love how overcoming a difficult boss still feels so exhilarating. My love for Souls games and Bloodborne alike isn't just reliant on difficulty. Every step, every swing of the weapon has meaning. You can't just cancel out of combo mid-swing. You have to commit to each attack, and when those commitments pay off, it feels great. Knowing that you're vulnerable, and this is where the difficulty comes in, leads to the necessity of always paying attention. It's not so much cheap, as it is a game that refuses to hold your hand. When you kill any enemy, when you take down a boss, and ultimately when you beat the game, it's because you are just that good. It's rewarding like no other game that I can think of. Also, the final boss of the DLC is maybe the best boss encounter I've had in years.